Hi, everyone. It's great to be back here in Madrid. It's been a few years since I've been here, and I am excited to be able to present Liferay Analytics Cloud to you and all the recent developments we've made on top of it since last year. I know last year Rafa was here and he was introducing Analytics Cloud as a new offering that we had. And what I want to do with you today is provide you an update of where we've gone from when we first launched our product last year in September of 2018. But the way I want to do that is to just start with the overall journey of where we started and where we are now. I think one of the exciting things to me about Liferay Analytics Cloud is it is a cloud-based offering. It is a SaaS-based offering. And the thing that's exciting to me is it allows us to be able to iterate quickly and develop features quickly and deploy them to you much more quickly versus our on-prem DXP, which has an annual release cycle. So just to start off, I want to get a better sense of how many of you are familiar with Liferay Analytics Cloud. Could you raise your hand if you are? Okay, not many people. So I'm going to go ahead and start with a recap of what Liferay Analytics Cloud is or was back in September of 2018. So Liferay Analytics Cloud, it helps you understand people, their interactions with your sites, and the paths and channels that drew them to your site. Some key concepts that you have to understand are both people and interactions. So the way we group and think about people are individuals, and individuals are existing or prospective customers that interact with your company on your digital properties and your sites. On Liferay DXP sites, they can be either registered users or visitors. Accounts are groups of individuals that belong to one organization. And user segments are groups of individuals with common characteristics. And you can create segments dynamically by using rules and criteria such as industry and location, or you can create them statically as well. On the interaction side, we have pages, and pages are basically the locations on your site where people interact with your content. And some of the things that we measure on the page are visits, session length, number of sessions, time on the page, and bounce rate. And finally, we also track assets, content that could be part of a page. And it could be in the form of a blog, a document, a form. And I think the great thing about Liferay is all these assets, all these content can be reused and used on various pages, but we're tracking all of the activity of that asset collectively for you. Okay, so moving on, the analytics for people. Some of the things that we're providing for you is profile data. Analytics Cloud integrates contacts from multiple sources, including multiple DXP sites, into a single view. And you can merge contact data into rich profiles of individuals. And you can choose how you see these individuals in terms of the fields that you want to use for that view. On the activity data side, we help you analyze individual interest and their activity history. Okay, for the analytics on the actual interactions, we provide a few reports. The first thing would be asset reports, and it helps you measure your content's performance. So it helps you identify the content that gets the most activity, so you can build off its success and create similar content. And it also helps you identify underperforming content as well. So you can then figure out what you need to do with that, whether it is to improve the content so that it performs well or remove the content from your site. We also provide page and path reports so that you can determine what your best advertising channels are. Discover how your customers are arriving on your pages and your sites so you can advertise on the right channels. And I think this is a really powerful way of being able to figure out what your attribution is potentially for your ad spend. So if you created, for example, a landing page and you're trying to drive traffic to that page, and you have ads that you're purchasing on Google and other venues to drive traffic to the site, the page and path reports will help you identify what are the channels that are performing the best, and you can then invest more in those channels that are performing and remove your investments from those that are not. We also provide topic and engagement so you can learn about people's interests. Once you know the topics that interest people, you can engage them on those topics. And you can produce more content that's relevant to the topics that are interested, and then be able to highlight how your product and services relate to those topics. So to summarize, when we first launched Analytics Cloud back in September of 2018, I think we could just summarize the key features as customer profile analytics, some traffic and path analytics, page analytics, and asset analytics. And that is where we started from. That's where September of last year we provided a lot of measurement tools as to how things were performing based on either users or the actual assets. So where did we evolve from here? And I'm sure many of you have probably seen a diagram like this one above. And the companies that are leaders in providing exceptional customer experiences, they're able to quickly build customer experiences, learn how their customers respond to those experiences, and then continually improve and evolve these experiences over time. And ultimately, that was what we wanted Analytics Cloud to be. We wanted it to be an intelligence layer on top of DXP, so that you can continually improve those experiences that you're creating in DXP. So Liferay DXP and AC capabilities working together to support this entire cycle. On the left-hand side, you would create the experiences in DXP, and then what you would do is then be able to measure, learn, and optimize with the data from Analytics Cloud. So the full cycle comes together, and Liferay DXP and Analytics Cloud are now more connected than ever. You're going to see that as we evolve both of these product lines, we're going to try and provide a seamless experience between both of these products. So if that's where we started in September of 2018, what have we done since then? So what we're planning to do, starting with March of this year, is to have quarterly releases so that we can start bringing more value to you as a customer faster. So in March of 2019, the focus of that release was to increase the potential of your customer data. And what we wanted to provide was a way that you could have a more enriched customer profile with Salesforce integration. So one of the things that we did was be able to provide an out-of-the-box integration with Salesforce so that you can be able to import in data from Salesforce accounts, leads, and contact objects. And so then you can blend the information, the customer information you have in Salesforce with user behavior tracked on your website to create a more complete profile of who your users are, who your customers are, who your prospects are. And this gives you a lot of insight into what accounts and individuals are doing in your digital touchpoints in one place. We also added in March of 2019 release the concept of account profiles to better support the B2B use case. Liferay Analytics Cloud can sync account data from Salesforce so you can understand how groups of individuals that are part of the same account are interacting with your content as a group. So account profiles in Analytics Cloud, they allow users to learn the profile and demographic information about an account, see all the individuals that are actually part of that account, see the aggregated interest in activities for an account. So for example, if everyone in one account is researching all this mobile app stuff on your site, you know how to better target that content to them. And then you can view all the segments that are relevant to that account as well. Because a lot of times we have customers that face challenges trying to answer like the following questions. Like, how many of my top customers have engaged with the latest product campaign that was released? How many of your low-performing customers actually are using services that you provide online? And how do we match the enterprise results data from your customer accounts with the interaction they have with your digital experiences and services? So with account profiles, Liferay really gives you a deeper understanding of your customers. So the last improvement that I want to talk about in March of 2019 was the custom app tracking. So I would say the majority of Liferay customers use our platform because of its flexibility. Most of them have developed custom applications using their own front-end technologies and their own custom UI. So what we created was a set of features to let developers add tags into their HTML so they can help AC identify what types of assets they want to track and how to track it. So for example, if you created a form using your own custom UI, you can still tag the HTML of the form with a proper tag, and AC will then recognize this as a form, and you can be able to have metrics tracked like submissions, abandonment, and drop-offs points in the forms in various fields. So one of the benefits of Liferay Analytics Cloud is that we can detect and analyze customer interactions with native DXP assets like forms, blogs, documents, and media, and web content without requiring you to tag any of those assets ahead of time. But for any custom assets that you develop, you'll need to be able to tag that in your app's HTML. Okay, so just recapping the features that we delivered in March of 2019 this year, we helped you enrich your customer profiles with an out-of-the-box integration with Salesforce. We also brought in the concept of account profiles and integrated that with Salesforce as well. And we allowed for you to be able to track your custom apps that you've created in Liferay DXP in Analytics Cloud as well. So the next quarter in June, we wanted to not just collect data, but to start allowing you to put your data into action. So the main focus for us for this release was to help you put your analytics data into action and help you optimize your website so you can have better adoption, conversion, and ultimately revenue. So one way we did that, and a great way to optimize your site, is to create personalized experiences for your visitors. And a great curated experience will hopefully delight your visitors and in turn drive better results for you. So by combining the data of Analytics Cloud with the Experience Manager in DXP, you'll be able to orchestrate personalization with ease and, more importantly, at scale. So I think one of the key things in being able to orchestrate a successful personalization is to really define an accurate target audience. So as we mentioned before, Analytics Cloud not only collects the browsing behavior data of your website visitors, but it can also enrich these visitor profiles using other data sources. And this will then help you create a 360 view of your customer, and with that, you can create more accurate audience segments from all that data that you have. And so the more accurate your audience segment is, the more likely you'll be able to deliver a great personalized experience. So segmentation is one of the core activities in driving personalization in digital experiences. So for just a little background, prior to 7.2, we had a feature called audience targeting. And it was intended as a way to provide, to create personalization for your website. But one of the main issues you came across probably was scalability, because although we provided a mechanism where you could store the activity and behavior data in another repository, most people just turned it on and started slamming their database with all this activity data. And so, since all that browsing data was stored on-premise, as you can imagine, a high-traffic website would easily cause performance issues for your system. So one thing that we realized is that in 7.2, we really wanted to enhance personalization And so one of the things we did was to move that behavior collecting data to Analytics Cloud. And what you're able to do in DXP is still be able to personalize based on things like session and user profiles in DXP. So, some of the improvements that we made from migrating from audience targeting to Liferay DXP is things like improving the audience segmentation capabilities. And in audience targeting, you could personalize content on a page and do it like within a portlet. But what we did in personalization for DXP was allow you to personalize the entire page, the entire experience, so that you could then be able to change the navigation, the theme, the layout, the content on the page. And so it gives you greater flexibility to really think about the experiences that matter for your user segments and be able to deliver much more tailored experiences to them. Just digging a little more into advanced segmentation. So inside DXP 7.2, there's an audience segment builder to help you create your audience segments. But what you're getting out of an integration with DXP is, again, the behavior data that helps you be able to have better targeted segments. To kind of clarify, what do we mean by multidimensional personalization? What does Analytics Cloud provide you in addition to what you're just getting out of DXP? So in DXP, with personalization, you can still segment based on the profile data in the DXP user table. In Analytics Cloud, though, you can enrich that because you can also create, again, that behavioral data. You have the profile data from other data sources like Salesforce that you can use to enrich. In DXP, you can segment by session attributes and cookies. And again, in Analytics Cloud, you can then use Salesforce data in other repositories to be able to enrich that user profile. In DXP, the identity is only known in one DXP site. In Analytics Cloud, it resolves identity across multiple DXP sites for both known and anonymous users. So, we really feel that Analytics Cloud will help you really drive greater personalization than just compared to DXP. Another important feature we added is anonymous user tracking. And just so, I know we're in Europe, so just to be very clear, we're tracking anonymous users, and this is completely GDPR compliant. You can choose to enrich your visitor profile with PII, personal identifiable information, such as name, email, and demographic info, if you choose, but it's completely optional. Out of the box, we don't track that information, and we do support GDPR. So with anonymous tracking, Analytics Cloud can track these anonymous visitors across multiple sessions and multiple DXP sites. And what we do is we use a unique browser ID to be able to do that. That's generated by DXP. And again, for anonymous users, we're only going to track their browsing behaving data. No personal information is collected unless you choose to collect that information so that you can enrich your data. And again, these anonymous visitors can still be segmented and personalized based on their browsing behavior. So that's generally the main features that we released in June of 2019. We really wanted to focus on being able to use the data that you've collected, putting it into action, enabling multidimensional personalization in DXP, allow for anonymous tracking, and being able to personalize experiences for anonymous users based on their behavior as well. So in September of 2019, we then took that a step further, not only putting your data into action, but using data to really optimize digital experiences. So one of the things we did was actually enable A/B testing for DXP. So with DXP 7.2, we allow you to create content pages with personalized experiences for different audiences. But how can you really know for sure whether the changes that you make, those personalizations you make, are actually better. Will the new page and the experience that you create, will it increase the number of subscriptions? Will your changes really reduce the bounce rate? How well is your actual personalization for those experiences performing? So in order to be able to test those things, to optimize those experiences, we invested in providing A/B testing. And the caveat I want to say is that A/B testing only works for content pages on 7.2 SP1 and above. And 7.2 SP1 was released a couple weeks ago. So let's go into detail on how this actually works. So here we have a page, and it's running on Liferay DXP. Okay, and let's imagine that the situation here is we've created a landing page, and in this landing page, we're trying to drive what? Someone to click that button, a call to action, so that they can click the button so that we can convert these prospects into customers. Okay, so that's the use case. So let's walk through how A/B testing sort of works. So the thing you would do first is you would go ahead and click on that icon, and it drops down the A/B testing panel. And in the A/B testing panel, what you see right now is we have no test running. And this is for the default experience, and you can change the experience if you want to test a different experience. But we'll go ahead and create a test experience for default. Give it a name, give the test a description, and we're going to click on next. And here you'll see that the experience is defined, and the next thing you have to do is define who your audience is. And what I love about this is based upon the audience that's defaulted, anyone, it shows you how many visitors have been to that experience over the last 7 days. And what you can do is you can even then choose to define a subsegment of your audience if you want. But we'll go ahead and keep the default and click on next. And the next thing you need to do to be able to create this test is to select a goal. And the 4 goals that you can select are bounce rate, the click rate, the scroll depth, and the time on page, depending on what you want to test. So since we're testing a CTA page, we're going to click on click rate. That's what we want to test. We want to test that button, and we're going to go ahead and click on save. So you'll see right there we have that click goal as our thing that we want to measure, and we need to now select a target. What button are we going to test? So you click set target and go over to the button, and you'll go ahead and select that button that you want to test and select that element as your click target. And once you do that, you click on create variant, and it'll go ahead and automatically create a copy of the page as it is for you. You need to give the variant a name. And so here you see that you have your control version and your variant, CTA, and copy. And when you click on edit, it'll then let you make the changes that you want to test. So since this is a landing page, the thing we're going to change is the header messaging and the actual button color. So instead of welcome to Acme Insurance, let's give a message that's different. We've got you covered. It's our promise. And for the button, the blue on blue kind of bleeds it out. So let's go ahead and give it some pop, and we'll select orange as our button color. So we've made a couple of changes, the copy and the color of the CTA button. And what we're going to go ahead and see is that once we've saved it, we can go ahead and review and start a test. And once you want to start a test, there are some configurations you can make. You can define what the traffic split's going to be. So if you want to change it from 50-50, you can customize that. You can define what the confidence level is. And, the confidence level, and what it does is it gives you an estimated test duration based on the confidence level. So depending on the number of traffic you have, it may be higher or lower, and you may want to change the confidence level if you're not getting enough traffic to that site. But let's go ahead and click on the test. We'll run it. And so what's going on now is that test is being run. And this was done in the DXP side, and now we're going to go over the Analytics Cloud side. So view data in Analytics. And as soon as we click that, that takes us to Analytics Cloud. And this is where we can see all the tests, the results, and what's going on. So this test is just running now. Let's click forward 7 days, and it's 33% complete. And so the test is still running. The estimated duration was 14 days. You have some results. And now let's forward another 7 days and say, like, the test is completed, the winner is declared, and you're able to see the results of that test. You get a notification that this test has been complete, and you can see that how many days it covered, how many test sessions it actually took, and what metric you actually tested, the click button, the call to action. And then you see what the lift is compared to the other variant. So here you see a conversion report of the variants to see how they actually performed. And you'll see that our winner, CTA and copy, had a 12% lift over control. You can actually verify the test sessions and the actual data down there and look at it if you want. Okay, so that summarizes some of the information that we provide. And so once that test is run and you've been notified, you go back to this page and you have to publish either the winner or another variant if you want. If there wasn't a winner declared, it'll notify you as well, and then you have to decide what you want to do there. But let's go ahead and say that we're going to publish the winner. And this is from the AC side. So what you can do is once you click Publish Winner, what that'll do is it'll change the default experience in DXP for that winner so that you can experience that lift in conversion on your DXP sites. So that pretty much summarizes the A/B testing feature that we provided. And we really think it really does change the game for us in terms of being able to optimize your customer journeys with data-driven insight. You can not only test landing pages, but whatever you need to do, whatever customer outcome you want to test, whether it's a form submission, whether it's a landing page, you're able to do that now with DXP 7.2 SP1 and Analytics Cloud. Another feature that we released in September of this year was site-wide reports. And, previous to September, website owners can only see performance of individual pages and assets. And now we provide a site-wide report that aggregates analytics from your entire site into one comprehensive dashboard. So at a quick glance, you can see how many unique visitors are visiting your site over time, the best and worst performing pages on your site, the traffic sources, where your audiences are coming from, the interest, the things they're searching for, and their visit patterns. Another thing another feature that we launched in our September release was smart content recommendations. And what we're doing is by leveraging the visitor behavior information in Liferay Analytics Cloud and the content metadata in Liferay DXP, content can now be recommended based on AI-driven interest models. So what a content creator and administrator would do is enable content recommendations in a content set. So that will automatically personalize results that are shown. And the interest is calculated based on the categories, tags, and the page keywords based on the visitor's previous viewing history. And then the interest can then be clustered into like topics, and the results can be further filtered through the other rules that are available on the content set. And visitors do not have to be logged in for the recommendations to work. So that is just a feature recap of what we released in September of 2019. We enabled A/B testing for DXP, site-wide reports, and smart content recommendations. And I hope that you're really being able to see the trend of how quickly we're releasing new features and capabilities quarterly on Analytics Cloud. So with March, it was being able to collect more data and enrich data profiles. For June, we added multidimensional personalization, anonymous tracking. In September, we enabled A/B testing and smart content recommendations. In December, we're going to provide a data export API feature so that if you have a data lake or a data warehouse and you need to be able to take that information you have in Analytics Cloud and store it in your data lake to do whatever analysis you need, additional analysis you need, we do that. We're going to improve GDPR management so that it's more self-service, that you can be able to service yourself. In March of 2020, we're going to be able to provide custom events and goals. In June, smart segmentation, multivariate testing, and I think the long term, we're really thinking about the automation of experiences, customer journey-based optimization. I'm running out of time here, so I think this is the way I would like to end. When I started the presentation, we started with the question, what is Analytics Cloud? And I would say that when we first launched in September of 2018, Analytics Cloud was a customer experience measurement system. We allowed you to understand your users. We allowed you to understand their behavior on your sites. We allowed you to understand the content and the performance of that content and the traffic. And then today, in October of 2019, I would describe Liferay as a customer experience optimization system. Because now we not just have the actual data that we've collected, we're allowing you to use that data for multidimensional personalization, for A/B testing, for smart recommendations, helping you drive better customer outcomes through optimization. But where are we planning to go in the future? And in the future, I think we're thinking about Analytics Cloud as a customer experience intelligence system, where we can create automated experiences, where it can be continuous experimentation and automation, where we can think about customer journeys and better digital ops support. So, I have a roadmap presentation at the end of the day today, and I'll go a little more into what we mean by that. But for now, I just want to end it with the two people that are in charge of Analytics Cloud. These are Charles Pinyon and Jonathan Lee. Their contact information is there. I believe the slide deck will be made available. If you're interested in Analytics Cloud, and if you're interested in knowing whether it will solve the customer optimization needs that you have, feel free to reach out to them for any questions that you have. And if you really want to learn more about Analytics Cloud, there's a website there that you can go to. But what I would really recommend you to do is to really request a demo. And when you come to that demo, come with the information of what are the customer outcomes, what are the customer experience you want to optimize, what do you want to test, what are you trying to improve? And as you provide that information, we'll be able to tailor a demo for you that will be able to give you some insight into how Liferay DXP and Analytics Cloud can be your customer optimization system. That's all. Thank you so much for your time. And if you have any questions, I'll be around the rest of today. Please feel free to come up to me and ask me any questions. Thank you very much.